So I'm sure you guys remember this, the BMAX B1 mini PC. I featured it in this video where I pretty much just unboxed it and gave it a quick test, nothing too serious. Anyway, somebody left a comment that said for $49 I could get a better version of this with Windows 11 Pro, 256 gig SSD and 8 gigs of RAM. Now, how do we know we can trust the Max? The Max could just be a genuine everyday person, or they could be a spy from another channel, here to sabotage my great success. After all, I am at 15 subscribers now. But let's assume that he's telling the truth. Here is what he's talking about on Amazon, and it's actually going for $170 now. It was $150, but I guess they must have upped the price. So I think we need to buy this. Only 7 left in stock, so we better get it soon. And here it is. Amazon's really upped their game lately. Let's oh, this is impossible to do. All right, it's well, it looks a lot like the other one. There's the actual unit. Hey, that's nice. It's still plastic. 2 USB 3 ports, a micro SD card slot, 2 Ethernet ports, 2 full HDMI ports, the power port. I keep saying port. That is clearly a heatsink. And that's the front. So power button, 2 more USB 3 ports, a USB-C port, headset jack, and a reset button. And what else is there? Well, once again, a power supply, an HDMI cord, and a little mount, which turns out you can actually use this to mount it to the back of a monitor, which I hadn't realized, but yeah, I mounted mine to the wall. Anyway, let's go plug this in and see if it performs any better. Dun, dun, dun. Well, it is a very similar size, except I think this one's more square. This one's slightly more rectangular. Gotta get it in. All right, we got the, sorry for the awful camera work here. This is more challenging than you might think when you're holding a phone. Oh, where's the USB? Let's see, one push. Oh yeah, the power button lights up. Very similar to the previous model. So straight away, this is obviously different because this is the Windows 11 setup. So who's going to use the device? You'll use your name, Steve. I'll put in a password right here. It's interesting that it isn't making me sign in with a Microsoft account. And I know this is not the greatest method for security, but I don't care right now. All right, we'll turn all of this crap off. All right, here's the last bit. Oh, that's cool looking. I'm gonna wait for it to complete this and then we'll come back to it. All right, we made it. So we really do have 8 gig of RAM. It looks like it's shared with the graphics. We truly are running Windows 11 Pro, and it does have a giant SSD on board. So far, so good. All right, let's see if we can connect it up to the Wi-Fi. That's the one we're gonna go with. Okay. Boom. Very good. Something I was curious about, it really does have 2 Ethernet ports, and I don't really know why. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the previous box, and I'm going to download GitHub, download Game Maker Studio, run my game, and see how many frames per second it gets. On the old BMAX computer, it was getting around 30 some frames per second. Hopefully, I'll be able to get 60 on this one. While we're doing that though, I think we should also run the same hard drive test just to see how it does. Honestly, without doing any tests, it just feels a lot faster. All right, here we go. substantially faster straight out, I think. Let's come back and check on it in a sec. All right, well, you know, it's got like 3 to 4 times as much throughput as the previous BMAX computer. So that's really cool. And I think it's pretty noticeable when you're using this thing that it's a lot snappier. Now, the other thing that's different is that, as far as I'm aware, this front cover pops off. Okay, here it does. And it is significantly more upgradable. You can, you know, upgrade the RAM here. There's 2 slots. Right now it just has a single 8 gig stick, and there's the 256 gig SSD. But also, you can install a 2.5-inch drive onto this and actually mount it in there. And I was kind of wondering, where would you plug that in? So I looked in the box again and I found this, a small SATA connector with a ribbon cable. And I think that that ribbon cable connects right here. Now, I'm not going to test that. This is clearly performing much better than the old one here. So I would imagine we'd get similar throughput. And putting it back together is as simple as doing that. No screws on this. These vents are putting out a little bit of heat. The actual case doesn't really feel hot at all, but yeah, you can feel the heat coming out of this. All right, we got it loaded. Let's give it a shot. It is compiling. Seems a little quicker. This is noticeably faster. And if we look at the frames per second, we're getting, well, above 50. Still not the 60 that I was hoping for, but still more than the 30-some that the previous model was doing. Let's give this a shot. Where are we at? 50, we're still in the 50s. Yeah. Oh, well, it's definitely much more playable. Oh, crap. Much more playable. I like it. Now, I realize that I'm not really testing these and getting the numbers that people might want to see. And I might not even be getting as much performance as I can out of these 2 boxes. So I think the right thing to do in this case would be to pass these along to my buddy Jay, and he can run some real benchmarks on these and also see if he can squeeze any more performance out of them. Now, we've got to get it delivered to him. I think I know how. He's going to be so surprised. Anyway, if you want to see that video by Jay where he benchmarks and tries to squeeze a little more out of these little computers, I'll link to that video here. And if you liked this video, please consider hitting like. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, I have other mini PCs that I'm going to be looking at, including this one. And, you know, some other cheap computers aren't necessarily mini, but are smaller than a typical desktop. Consider hitting the subscribe button, which is probably here somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.